on, Brendan here from Games, Brains, and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for short, and it is end of year list time. It's EPs. We got 10 to talk about. Well, 10 each. I have 10, and Brendan has 10, and we're going to tell you about our top 10 EPs of 2024. We're not going to hang around. We're just going to dive in. So do you want to take it away with your number 10, please, Brendan?
Yep, no worries. So my number 10 is an album called The Dystopian Chronicles Volume 1 by a band called Warhog, which is Texas-based, bluesy, rocky, southerny sort of styled music. Really, really cool. Very, very theatrical in terms of delivering a story around this whole concept of dystopia. And they did deliver three, I think, a trilogy of EPs, which were the Dystopian Chronicles trilogy, but it was the first one that sort of stuck with me the most. So, yep,
Yeah.
10th on the list. The Dystopian Chronicles by Warhog.
Yeah, for some reason I haven't heard it, but whenever I see the cover, I'm always like, oh yeah, that one, because I swear it just stands out, that fucking cover.
Yeah, it does.
Right, my number 10 is Drowning by In Death, which came out earlier this year in March. A brand new EP, but also was kind of like a rebirth for the band, leaning forward with a new name change, because In Death, of course, is what they're now known as. So it's kind of like a statement. Here we are. Here's our five-track modern metalcore, infused bits of hardcore heaviness that's really creative, really intense, but also deals with mental anguish, hopelessness, and just bleakness in a very modern Britain that always feels quite like down, dirty, and depressing. That's kind of what they showcased and vibed with here, and it has. It's how the EP feels. It's what each track delivers, but in an anthemic way that makes you want to move, just filled with a lot of emotion. So my number 10, Drowning by In Death.
Cool. Ninth place then. So these local band, local to us anyway, London based, and this is their
Mhm.
debut EP, and it's self-titled, and it's the band and EP known as Paradis. So it's Paradise without any at the end, basically. Um, Released their debut, self-titled debut on the 20th of September. It's five tracks. Metalcore at its foundation, but like expansive. It's more expansive than just say it's metalcore. You know, there's obviously like a lot of bands do these days. They've got multiple influences, and what they tend to do is just use what they want to do, but around this kind of foundation of metalcore. I found it very, very exciting, really creative. And really, really professional for a debut, which I love as well. So, you know, it doesn't come out and you go, oh, there's a debut, and they'll improve their sound as they go on. It's like, yeah, okay, these guys have hit the ground running. So yeah, really enjoy it. Paradise.
Incredible. Number 9 for me, it is The Fall of House Aberrath by Dragon Core. So this is fascinating because Brendan will be all too aware of this band, a deathcore power metal band. Yes, it is as stupid as it fucking sounds, but it's also incredible. This is the follow-up to the Dracath Saga, which was an EP Brendan reviewed. I'll admit, I picked this up without paying attention to who I was actually reviewing. I just grabbed it and was like, Dragon was, I'll do this one. I need it for this space. And it was only when it's kind of got into it, I was like, wait a minute, this is fucking Dragon Court. And then everything fell into place. And I almost was like, I should have told you, like, you should have been the one to review it. But almost because to continue that, but like, I'd already halfway done. I was like, no, I'll carry on doing. But I know the Dragon Saga as well. I've heard that as well because the combination is fascinating. But here, it's nothing different, folks. What it is refinement. It's clear that they've learned a fair amount of how to balance this much better, to create that unique sound, just to do it better, more refined, to be clever and inventive while delivering still that weird combination of deathcore and power metal. It's an evolution and an advancement of what they did with Drac of Saga, which makes it a very, very good EP overall. Listen, folks, if you don't know Dragon Corpse, forget what I'm saying about this specific. Just go listen to any song of theirs. Fucking weird, but the Fall of House of Aberrath is I think, the best thing they've done to date.
Yeah, it always sounds weird, doesn't it? Deathcore and power metal, but it fucking works.
Works. Yeah.
They've made it work, yeah. All right, so eighth place for me then, and it's quite recently out, but I like it a lot, and I've been listening to it a lot. We obviously, as you know, we get them quite a significant period of time before their release date. So even though this only came out technically 3 days ago, I've been listening to it for about 2.5, 3 weeks. So, and this is
That's it,
Killer
yeah.
Chord EP Vices. So it came out on the 13th of December. Yeah, this to me was like it's a bit kind of mind changing in it. Like I know a lot about Killer Core and I like them, and I see a lot about them on social media and everything like that. And they're high energy, in your face, kind of hardcore styled music.
Mhm.
And then you listen to Vices and you realize that there's a lot more to them. And what I found with Vices is it's almost like they've reached a level of kind of maturity with the music and everything that sees them take that intensity still, that fire, but deliver it with like this added kind of professionalism, with melancholy, with passion, with emotion, and everything like that that I wasn't expecting from them. I found this whole EP to be quite mind blowing, really, and it really opened my eyes to what Killer Core are able to do.
Fantastic. Got to stop myself in my head saying Killer Corp constantly. I know it's Killer Corp. I know how to say that word, but I still read it that way, and I have to constantly remind myself, no, not Killer Corp. Stop saying that. Number 8 for me, Malavora and their EP Echoes, released middle of November this year. There was no EP on my list this year that I think encapsulates as an identity. In this EP, I get everything this band is, particularly how they blend shades of rock, alt metal, and so much more with it. They are categorized alternative rock, but that's only because they don't really fit anywhere else. There's a lot going on in this, but what I really get from it is what they're trying to say. They want to embody and explore elements of the chronic illnesses that they suffer from, including neurodiversity, and also showcase their identity, which in particular is the vocalist Middle Eastern roots. Because of that, we get this variety of passionate rock music. It's all about that identity. I've never experienced something this year on this, and that's why it's in this list, where I get them just based off the EP. I hear it and I'm like, that's what you want to say. That's what matters. And I can see this speaking so much to people who might be in similar situations. Yeah, Malavora's Echoes, number 8 for me.
Number seven, then. So the second Texas-based outfit for me. So go Texas. This is a band called Gore. So the EP was called A Bud That Never Blooms. It was released around October sometime. Um, I didn't think I was going to like this, is the truth. There was a lot about it that I liked in terms of the feel that you kind of get sent like along with it, and then there was a lot of things that I was like, I don't know why. Oh, I'm an old man, I suppose, and I've just makes me go, oh, I'm not sure. So the fact that they've kind of grown massively over social media, YouTube in particular, by releasing songs that way. So much so that they were then picked up by Spine Farm, who are a big label. Before they even really had a proper release, to then take those songs that they've been releasing on YouTube and release them, on record. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff. You kind of think like, oh man, like fair play to you. Don't get me wrong, but it's not really the traditional like old school kind of way of like you're meant to play to 95 clubs a year where you don't get paid and everything like that. Like, how dare you post on YouTube? But what I found with it is that it's actually really fucking great, really, really good. There's a large sort of feminine perspective that's delivered in the music. It's very, very modern. It feels to me when I listen to it, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but very now in terms of its style. It's a modern metal, but with progressive and technical elements in it, delivering feminine perspective, especially from the pressures of being pressured into you're meant to be a mother, you're meant to do this, you're meant to like follow this prescribed path almost, and the challenges that she's felt dealing with that and wanting to continue doing what she loves. It's got 5 tracks on it. Each track is immensely different one to the next. Really, really clever lyrically, really, really powerful. And when they decide to come out of the clean side of things and hit you with the progressive kind of hardcorey, you know, blast, it's clever, it's intelligent. So Gore, a bud that never blooms.
Yeah, I think it's a good EP too. Only things that annoys me about the name is Gore full stop. It
Yes,
looks like
which
an
is
error in every part of like when you put the review
yep.
up, I didn't know it then. I was like, oh man, he's fucked it up. He put a full stop off the Gore. Oh no, that's just how it's supposed to
Oh
be.
yeah, trust me, when I have to look at my screen and it's got the red fucking lines everywhere telling me you need to spell check this, and like, stop it. Painful.
Fabulous. Okay, number 7. This is Chaos Theory by Vanitas. This was released in August, which is a terrible time to have to cover anything beginning of August because it's right in our Bloodstock season. However, thankfully, I'd heard most of this EP before it was released because they'd done single after single in the run up to it and it had been covered in single slam. So it made kind of covering the EP. Very, very easy because there was only a handful of tracks I hadn't heard. Of course, this comes from the self-styled cinematic gent band, progressive metal, gently aspects, orchestral backdrop. It's big, big sounds, but also incredibly heavy. I think this band are incredibly talented. It's been a pleasure to get to know them and experience their music over this last year. But I think like the rise is notable too. More and more people are paying attention to this, and this EP encapsulates everything. It's a collection of who they are up to this particular point. Brilliant EP, filled with brilliant, brilliant tracks. Chaos Theory, my number seven.
Awesome. Number six then for me, and here's that obligatory Melodeath band for everybody. So this is the band Words of Farewell with the EP Stories to Forget. All threes, everything threes here. They were released on
Ooh,
Seek and Strike. Just to add another th a three into it. Look,
okay,
German
cool.
band. They've been around for a little while. Nice to see a German Melodeath band. You don't always see, or at least not reach me anyway. Often more Scandinavian or Americans do like paying tribute to the Scandinavian scene. Um, been around for a while though, man. They've been doing their things since around 2007, and they're very, very experienced, very, very professional, know what they're doing, and that's what they've delivered here. It's 5 tracks, very, very firmly set in melodic death metal, but as every band has to these days, applying little quirks here and there to different songs to try and, you know, give it an edge over everything else that's melodeath. They're very, very good at what they're doing. The music is fast, it's heavy at times, it's emotional at times, it's melodic, obviously, because it is melodic death metal. But a very, very good version of it.
Fabulous. Okay, number six for me is Orm. No Serpents, No Saviors. Released in August this year, of course. It's one track long, people, and it's 24 minutes. 24 minutes of death and doom. The darkest of death, the heaviest of doom. 24 minutes split apart with some horror samples as well, so you can kind of break it apart in that way if you so want. It's nightmare. It's that. It's pure, disgusting, horrible noise that is just unbelievably addictive, unbelievably creative. I absolutely fucking love it. It is not something I can listen to often, but when I do forget the vibe and I'm like 24 minutes, that's good. It is all about this. Number six, No Serpents, No Saviors by All.
Okay, number five then for me. So this is the EP. I had one of these songs from this band in my top 10 tracks of this year, but for
Cool,
the
cool, cool.
EP now, this is For Death is Fate by the band Voltumna. Black and death metal band from Italy. If you watch the song video, this is the band who do oh my Lord, anthropological reinterpretations of ancient wars.
Nonsense words. Nonsense words, but yes.
I want to get that on a t-shirt. Um,
Yes.
I think this EP is stunning. It is the perfect combination, the clash of really heavy, harsh black metal with two harsh black metal vocalists, but alongside creative and like almost grand and epic melody. There is backing, there is a bit of symphonic to it, but it's not based around that. It is more on the sort of black and death than it is on symphonic. But they use it when they need to. I mean, I wrote in the sentence I wrote at the end of the review for this was just it's end to end amazing. Not a single moment of fluff, no filler, no moments of boredom, just a non-stop creative and inspiring EP. I think it's phenomenal.
When you write, speak like that, it sounds like it should be higher. My goodness me. Incredible.
Well, you know yourself, like some of the lines between these bands, especially as you get nearer to those number one places, like it's minuscule and sometimes interchangeable almost.
I know I found that more with the EPs this year than ever any other
Yeah.
year. But my number five also comes from a band which had a track in the top 10 as well with 6 songs. So that's quite interesting. It is Celestial Sanctuary with Visions of Stagnant Blood. That is the EP. Dropped that Noah, which was always a delight. And although their popularity is increasing, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that they weren't chilling out in the slightest. It's 3 gargantuan, guttural, and grim efforts that are just pure savagery, brutality, utter carnage, heavy, not extreme nonsense, and utter delight to listen to. And the fact that it's so palatable, the fact it's 3 tracks and you can bite into it and be done in about 11, 12 minutes, that just makes it even better, man. It's fabulous. It's my number five.
Right, fourth place then. So we're off to Finland now for modern metalers, my favorite Nemesis, who released an EP called We Annihilate back in April this year. Didn't know the band beforehand. This was the first time hearing them. I don't know. I don't even know now actually whether it's for the first release or anything like that. But I just remember like being blown away by this and thinking like modern sound wise, this is the sort of band that could go on to be fucking huge. You know, they're coming at you with a very, very heavy music, but very, very passionate, dealing with emotional and mental health and trauma in particular. Very, very real. They also come with two vocalists, a female singer and a male singer. Both do harsh, both do clean. It's not prescribed as in you're the clean singer, I'm the heavy singer. But they
Yeah.
don't just do that. They do different variations of it, you know, so like different levels of harsh, different levels of clean, different tones, constantly changing throughout every single song, and not different style per song, different styles within each verse of each song, and each chorus is different. So it feels like it's like evolving around you while you listen to it, and it's backed up by, you know, catchy melody, big riffs, bits of groove, bits of like blast beats, like just bringing a bit of everything in it in a crisp modern sound as well. So yeah, I think sort of band you listen to and you go, yeah, oh, this shit's going to be popular.
Okay, number four. I'm popping over to Ireland, where Worn Out are hanging out with the EP Low. Are released at the end of August this year. They are considered, rightfully so, at least in the underground scene, as one of the finest modern hardcore bands with metallic elements to enrich their sound, giving it that meatier, heavier sound, and standing out from the hardcore crowd as well. The reputation kind of precedes them. That's the thing. Like they're a very busy band, constantly playing live, particularly in Ireland, but you kind of hear a fair bit more about them, lauded rightfully so. One of the best and brightest of Ireland's metal scene. It's nice to see that beginning to spread further afield as well. I think this EP is a genuine statement of this band's brilliance and how they're growing and how you can see like where the future lies for them. And if they continue on this trajectory, like they're gonna be one of the bigger bands in this scene, hopefully. So yeah, that's Low by Worn Out, my number four.
Cool. Top three time then. So third place for me, Vancouver-based band called Atavistia, who released an EP called Inane Du Calm back in summer, July, earlier in the year. Didn't know the band beforehand, but it is a style of music I like, which is basically black and symphonic metal. Um, a little bit more expansive, but I think everyone is these days, isn't it? It's almost like a thing now. Like you can't just do the core genre. It's like we want to explore and we want to do more to it. So they do as well, you know. So there's over the course of the EP, you know, you get plenty of black metal, you get little moments that almost touch on power, plenty of moments that get a bit closer to the death side of things, even melodic death. And of course, plenty of big symphonic backing. So, very, very professional outfit, very, very crisp and clean. If you see them in videos, they even come across, they kind of like visually like a Winterfire, sort of in terms of like, you know, we're not talking corpse paint necessarily and all that sort of stuff. We're talking like crisp black shirts and like, yeah, that sort of thing. But musically, extremely listenable symphonic black metal. Very catchy at times, dark and grisly at times as well.
G'day. Loving the variety as always. It's always interesting to see how little we cross over here. And
Yep.
I doubt you will have my third in your list either, because in coming from France is the alternative metal post-hardcore band Ways with the EP Are We Still Alive? I'm going to keep this really simple, folks. This is five of the best alt slash post-hardcore tracks of the year. Not one or two of the best, and then three good tracks. Five of the best. This is the epitome of all killer, no filler EP. I'm still stunned by this EP, how strong it is. Um, it could be number one. Like at now, we are now at the most interchangeable of point where I'm going to say my top three all sit on the same level, and this could be number one. Just in another day. It's just how I decided to rank them on more how often I come back to them. I don't always come back to Ways the way I do what's going to follow them. But fuck me, this if you want to know this band, who have been around since around 2016, but done and released a lot. They released a lot of EPs and singles. They're always doing something. So like, but this to me is a great modern example of where they're at. They are fabulous. Ways, are we still alive? That's my number three.
Okay, number two for me is black and death metal, and it's Sathamel's with Sathamel's EP Opposition to Life. Um, I mean, this EP is just stunning. The band is stunning. You know, they had a period of time where they were quiet. They've come back, slightly changed, slightly evolved in terms of line up, in terms of dropping some of the visual sort of aspects of it, and with a kind of renewed energy and focus on the music. And we're all better off for it, to be honest with you, because this EP is just like it's just of the highest quality. It's extremely heavy, extremely punchy, in your face, aggressive music, but it's delivered in a way that it is at times surprisingly catchy. And you find it to be catchy to listen to. There are elements of groove to it, but it's just at its core, at its heart, it's just proper black and death metal, really, really delivered wonderfully. And it's, yeah, my second favorite EP of the year.
It is a fantastic EP. It's been a roughly 6 month journey for both of us with this band. That's been fascinating. Going back to pre-Bloodstock, reactions, one of the ones we chose for the New Blood. Loved what we heard. Saw a bit of them at it. Didn't watch all of it because of commitments elsewhere, but watched some at Bloodstock. Then obviously this EP, which we both think is fantastic. How it's in your list. Didn't quite make mine, but then that's just personal choice. Yeah, it's been fascinating. Can't wait to see what they do in the future. Number two for me, this band had a track on my top 10 tracks of the year. It's Callous with the EP Days, a post-rock and metal band from Cork, Ireland. This was released in July, and it's 3 tracks of the most poignant post-rock and metal that I've ever heard. All right, look, I am a little bit of a simple creature. You know, if it's post-based, I'm likely to have an attraction to it. It's my favorite style of rock and metal. So when it's done as clever and as poignant and experimental as this, I find it fascinating. If this had been a 1 track EP with just the title track, it would still be this high. But then you take into effect the other 2 tracks, which are stunning as well, and you have a 3 track release. There's simply no excuse to listen to. One of the joys of EPs like this is that they are short and sharp. And the fact that like there's only a handful of tracks, you've only got 50 minutes in a day, you can experience it. So you should be taking note of everything we're fucking saying here and go and listen to it. Make this an important one. I love this EP. Again, it could have been my number one, but these are all interchangeable. It's still a fabulous EP. So yeah, Days by Callous.
Well, number one spot then for me, like I said, just to reiterate the fact that there is interchangeability in this, but I settled on Trend Kills Blood for the Crown. Um, I also I kind of echo what you say to a degree, but not to the same level as you in that I like a little bit of experimentation. I like people to try different things and all that, but I also just sometimes like good fucking solid heavy metal, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what I feel like Trendkill deliver. I don't find like that they're pushing boundaries too much. I think they're just excelling at what they're doing, which is just delivering like, slabs of metal which are full of groove and thrash, and you want to bang your head to, and play air guitar to, and mosh to. Um, like I said, sad. I kind of at their core, they've been doing this for a while now, and at their core, they're just like 4 friends making heavy metal, and they're bloody good at it.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously on a bit of a hiatus now, hopefully not for forever, but as a parting gift, even if only temporary, Blood for the Crown comes with 4 absolute bangers on it, including one of my favorite 10 tracks of the year as well. So all helped it to become my number one EP of the year.
Fabulous. It's great to hear that band gets a shout out, me giving the number one spot. Because my number one spot goes to a band that actually has popped up in previous years. And this year they've been given the number one spot for my EP, even though it's 3 tracks long and actually comes in around 30 minutes. It's over 30 minutes. It's quite a big EP. Not only that, it's based around the Plato's dialogues. Timaeus, the unfinished Critias, and the hypothetical Hermocrat. It's quite an expansive concept behind this EP. But in life, they say only 2 things are certain: death and taxes. But there's a third people, and it's when Thumos release music, it's going to be spectacular. And of course, the progressive post-metal band have done it again, releasing this new EP. It's called Atlantis. It came out in April, and it is fucking brilliant because everything this band does is fucking brilliant. I am consistently stunned. I just don't know. Like, it's not fair. It makes it angry because, like, stop being so talented. Stop being dicks. Like, actually, it's like, but like, they deliver meaning. It's like meaningful and impactful post metal that's almost transcendent to a degree, but with depth as they draw from history in such an intriguing way to the point where I end up having to. This is an EP that has 3 tracks in, and I have to sit there afterwards going, right, I've got to Google all this shit. What the hell? What? Because I don't know much about like Greece and Plato and all this sort of that sort of like what did he call them? Deep thinkers, philosophy, all of that elements. I'm not that good on that. So I end up having to do deep reading into this because I'm thinking, wait a minute, he had dialogues. I know what they are. One was finished, another wasn't, and then there's a hypothetical one. How does that work? What's the hypothetical one? So I end up sitting there having to read off all this information. It's a 3-track EP. Yeah, I know, it's incredible, right? And I love doing it because I learned so much. All while I'm experiencing this 3-track EP that's over 30 minutes long, and I'm loving every minute of it. I'm sent away, loving the emotions and feeling it, and just delivered with this impactful post-metal. It's my #1 EP of the year. It is Atlantis by Thumos. There you go.
Would you say it's an anthropological reinterpretation of ancient Greek
I don't know. I
gods?
don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But I don't know what those words mean anymore. Does that mean so? Like, I'm giving up on that. There we go, folks. There's our top 10 EPs of the year. My 10 and Brendan's 10. What do you reckon? We had nothing. We doubled up on there. So you've got 20 to check out. Have you got any thoughts? Let me know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.